Everybody has their reasons as to why they moved to Davenport, Iowa, but these are the real reasons why you should consider moving to Davenport. First real reason is honestly the weather. Yes, the weather. Now we get the 4 seasons. You get spring, summer, fall, and winter. Yes, we get them all. It's not boring around here. We're always having a change, and I absolutely love that. You know, for somebody that grew up here, you'd think I'd get bored and tired of the winter or maybe that summer heat. And yes, I don't like the summer heat, but it keeps the world moving forward. I hear a lot of people coming from places like California where it's basically the same weather all the time, and they kind of get bored with it. And I could see why. I love 70 and sunny, but I would get bored with it if it was like that every single day. Now in the spring, we have the rain come and we start seeing those spring flowers. And let me tell you, after an Iowa winter or in Davenport winter, you are excited to see those warmer temperatures hit. Most people are getting out in 50-degree weather and thinking it is summertime. No, people just basically shut off their old winter coats and love that. Spring cleaning happens. It's a great time of the year. And then we head on into summer where we get, dare I say it, corn sweat.
No, God, please, no!
Yeah. Corn sweat. It's actually a term that comes from all the corn and agriculture around emitting liquid up into the air, creating humidity and creating a hot situation for all of us. Now again, it's not my favorite time of the year, but I still enjoy it. It still progresses the year forward. And then we have the fall, which is just about to happen here, and it is my favorite time of year by far. The leaves are changing. We get to have bonfires, pumpkins come out. My favorite time, hands down, and it's about to happen, so I'm getting excited. And then obviously the winter, we get the cold temperatures, the snow, but it's very beautiful, something I take for granted. My fiance was born in the Philippines, grew up in Saudi Arabia, and she absolutely loves watching the snow. Again, that's something I take for granted, but I understand it is pretty beautiful, especially when the fresh snow hits and nobody's walked through it yet. So pretty cool to have all 4 seasons, and it's a real reason that you should consider moving to Davenport. Now, I help a lot of people from this channel move to Davenport, and one of the main reasons that people state they decided to make that move was because of the home prices here in Davenport, where the median home price is about $200,000, and it's fairly affordable when you look at other states that these people are coming from. A lot of people coming from California, a lot more people coming from Texas, specifically Austin, and they're saying, hey, I can't even afford to live here anymore because of the home prices. So that is a big driver as to why people decide to make that move here. And another thing that I took for granted when just living here before I was even a real estate agent. You know, I bought my first home when I was 24 years old, and I thought that's just how you do it. Now that I know better and talking to people from all over the nation, that is not very typical. So I'm super thankful to be able to do that right here in Davenport, and it is a #1 reason that people make that move. And again, I help people move here from all over. So if you have questions, you want to know what neighborhood makes sense for you, what price point makes sense for you, give me a call, send me a text. I'd love to help you out. Here in the city of Davenport, we have plenty of parks, bike trails, recreational opportunities, and it's a reason that you should consider moving here because for me, it's super important to get outside and be active. You know, we have Vanderveer Park, we have Sunderbrook Park, we have the bike trail system that runs along the Mississippi River, which I use quite frequently, and it's a reason that people really do enjoy it. Again, the Mississippi River is something that we take for granted, but it is actually really cool, especially when you can take your bike and ride down on the river and get that exercise in that most people can't do everywhere they go. And then on top of it, the parks that are around are fairly well maintained. My favorite by far is Vanderveer. They have the conservatory there. They have the aisle of trees that you can walk through. It's just a really awesome park, and people love it when they move here. So it's a reason that they decide to make that move. When it comes to the size of the city, we're only about 100,000 people, and that can possibly seem pretty small depending on where you're coming from. Now, the thing I really enjoy about Davenport is it's a quote-unquote large city, but it still feels like a small town. The quote-unquote large city portion though is if you're looking for something to do, more than likely you're going to be able to find it. You know, we have the farmers markets on Saturdays. We have the River Bandits baseball team downtown. So those are some things you can do during the summer, but during the winter, there's even things to do. We have the ice sculpting competition that happens down there at Leclerc Park. The Bacon and Beer Festival happens during the winter. So there's plenty of options to go and find something to do while still maintaining that small town vibe of community feel right here in Davenport. So if you like that combination of both, Davenport is a great option for you. But hey, maybe you can't find something to do because you're just seeking that hustle and bustle of a larger city. Well, here's the thing about Davenport is we're only about 2.5 to 3 hours away from Chicago. So if you wanted to get into a day trip and go visit Chicago, it is absolutely possible. But maybe even Chicago is not where you want to be. Luckily for us here in Davenport, we have the Quad Cities International Airport right over in Moline, and it can get you pretty much anywhere you want to go in the whole United States. Now, I will say about that is most flights are going to be connection flights, although they do have some direct flights like going to Las Vegas. I believe they can go directly to Minneapolis. And just recently, they announced that they're going to be able to go directly to Charlotte. So they are working on getting more direct flights, but regardless, you can get pretty much anywhere you want to go as long as you understand that you will have a connection most likely somewhere. Now, we talked about home prices, but what we talk about costs of living here. Yes, the cost of living here in Davenport, in Iowa in general, is below the national average. And it's another huge reason that people have told me they decided to make that move because times are tough right now. Inflation's up and people are just looking for more affordable places to live. And that includes people that have retired. You know, you don't think typically that Davenport in Iowa would be a place that people would want to retire to, but more and more people are making that decision to move here to keep their costs low as they're using the retirement money that they've saved their whole life. That includes things like groceries, utilities, internet bills, all across the board are the lower costs benefiting people when they move here. So if that's something that's important to you, that is a real reason that you should consider moving to Davenport. Now, something that comes up but isn't talked about enough is the ease of traffic here in Davenport, and it really is not terrible. You know, if you're coming from a big city, Davenport's gonna seem like super easy. You know the main thoroughfares. You have River Drive, Locust, Kimberly, 53rd Street, all those, Eastern, Northwest Boulevard, Jersey Ridge, Elmore. You have all these amazing thoroughfares right through the city. And if you can get on one of those, they are easy to get around. Traffic, if you start in one side and move to the other, is probably going to take you 20 to 25 minutes, even on a bad day. So if traffic is something that is important to you, Davenport would be a great option, and it's something you should really consider if you're moving to Davenport. But hey, there's not everything can be covered in one video. So if you want to know more about living in Davenport, the pros and cons, well, check out this video right here because I go over that in more detail than I could in this one.